Okay, guys, let's talk Giddey Prove It's. Mine, look, I have a lot of apprehension about what Giddey can be for the Bulls, what Giddey can be as an NBA player. I chose to focus on something that he does well that also has a weakness attached to it.
Sure.
Prove to us you can do this thing.
Okay.
And that thing being creative playmaking and setting up teammates with good looks with his court vision and, some more up-tempo offense ideally for the Bulls. I was looking at Giddey's assist-to-turnover ratio through his first 3 NBA seasons, and it's respectable. And it has modestly and gradually improved from rookie year to last season. His rookie year, his assist-to-turnover ratio was 2.02. Then it was 2.22. Last season, got that up to 2.3. And this is kind of a big ask.
Okay.
Might be a long shot. I want to see a assist-to-turnover ratio above 3.0 from Josh Giddey. We're talking about nearly a full point jump, but when we are talking about Giddey, the court vision guy, Giddey, the great, playmaker who can set up his teammates with great looks and, his Bulls offense, like setting up Zach LaVine, setting up Kobe White, getting Vooch good looks with his court vision. The other thing that's attached to that, like you were just saying, Dave, like, hey, this Giddey thing. He also has these like facepalm turnovers. He's always had these turnovers. If you watch a full, start to finish Josh Giddey NBA performance, where you also saw it for Team Australia in the Olympics this summer. It's like he has this court vision, and then at times he tries. It's like doing too much. He thinks he can thread some needle and make some pass that's not there and doesn't exist, and therefore leads to a lot of unforced, unnecessary, really ugly, frustrating turnovers. So prove to us that you do have that great court vision and playmaking ability and set up the ability to be a setup man for your teammates and cut down on those turnovers. Get your assist-to-turnover ratio to 3.0. Just to add a little bit of context, last season's assist-to-turnover leaders with the criteria of at least 50 starts.
Hit me.
Tyus Jones led the NBA with 7.35. A lot of other familiar names that you would probably not be surprised to see on this list. Halliburton, Fred VanVleet, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mike Conley all had assist-to-turnover ratios between 5.0 and 4.0. Tyrese Maxey, Derek White, James Harden, Terry Rozier, and DeMar DeRozan rounding out the top 10. DeMar with a 3.12 assist-to-turnover ratio last season. Only a handful of others across the league last season who had at least 50 starts managed to have an assist-to-turnover ratio at 3.0 or better, those being D'Angelo Russell, Jamal Murray, Kevin Huerter, and Dennis Schroeder. So, look, a pretty eclectic group of names there. Some of them stars, some of them quality role players, some of them just kind of like, It's possible. Josh Giddey can prove that he belongs in this category of players who their greatest strength supposedly is setting up teammates. And for the love of God, just cut down the unnecessary turnovers, man.
Yeah, you're asking them just to be better. You know what I mean? I don't think that's hard at all. Just be a better guard or forward or facilitator.
Yeah.
And, not just be that, I guess, just trying to thread that need like a quarterback, like a gunslinger is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Like a
Jay Cutler. Triple coverage, I can fit it.
I could get it in there. You know what I mean? Like, no, make the right play, the right read, and that will cut down definitely on your turnovers. I'm with you. I like it.
I wonder, though, like, do you think, like, for example, I think people had this discussion around guys like Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook and James Harden when they were kind of like in their primes in like the 2015, 2018 era, where it was like, yeah, they're going to turn the ball over a lot, but that's also because what they're doing is like inherent to their style of play or associated with the pace that they play, the amount of threes that they get up, the transition game. Like you necessarily have more turnovers. So I hear what you're saying, and I agree in the sense that like you need to take care of the ball a little bit more. And one of the things that the Bulls have done really well over the last 3 years is take care of the ball.
Yep.
The possession battle is a huge piece of what they're trying to do. But I also think that there's a balance to strike in terms of him being himself. And like, the Bulls want him to do a lot of the stuff that Lonzo did. Not to say Lonzo is or wasn't a high turnover player. I'm not sure what the number is, but it's like he got the ball ahead in transition. Like that's inherently a riskier play than dribble, pull up.
Yeah.
So I think that's like within the style, even I guess adding a little bit more to it is like within the style that they want you to play, which is faster pace, which is making aggressive reads. Like, can you turn that down within that? I think that's a really good one.
Yeah, I think that's a fair counterpoint, but just to suggest, hey, do you think Giddey can get back up to being someone who averages 6 or 6 and change assists per game wise, and then keep your turnovers to 2 per game? His turnovers per game were 3.2, 2.8, and 2.1, so he is cutting down his turnovers. Obviously some of that this past season was fewer minutes and a lesser usage. But, like, I hear what you're saying, Will, and yes, it's part of the style of play that makes Giddey. But, I mean, I don't want to watch all season long for every great pass Giddey makes. He makes a pass that makes no sense and isn't there. I don't think that's too much to ask, while also allowing him to still be himself on the court. Like, we're going to play a faster pace, hopefully. That can tend to lead to turnovers. Somebody in the comments mentioning the fact that Giddey's handles aren't great. That's part of the reason why the turnovers are always a factor there. Sure. I'm just asking him to be, not just a very creative passer, but one who can be in the top quarter of people who do that well, who play make and set up their teammates well, while also not turning the ball over an abundance of times.
No, I'm totally in agreement with you there. I'm not trying to make a counterpoint. I think it's like when you look at Tyus Jones, for example, very much a table setter, right? He's not like doing anything crazy, getting the ball all the way to the rim. Like he's feeding the guy coming off the screen for a jump shot, that kind of thing. I think if that's what Giddey turns into, to me, that would be a little bit of a disappointment, because I think that means that he's not doing as much shot creation. He's doing the like passive point guard stuff and not the active rim pressure stuff. So I think it's within that style of play, turn it down, not change who you are to lower your turnover percentage, but still be who you are and get better at it.
The
I think
controlled chaos.
Exactly. That's kind of more where I'm directing it, not disagreeing.
Gotcha.
I got you.
All right, Dave, what do you want to see from Giddey this season?
So there was, for me, the first thing popped in my head was like 3-point shooting, but I thought that was just too obvious. And I was like, yeah, of
we
course.
all know he's bad at that.
What I mean? No, not that. Like, I think everybody wants him to improve his 3-point shooting.
Sure.
Like,
Did shoot 33.7% on 3 attempts per game last season. It's not like the dude is, And
he talked
Chris
a lot.
Dunn.
He talked a lot about it. He talked a lot about it in his press conference about that was one of the things he wanted to focus on.
Yeah.
Was his 3-point shooting getting improved. So he knows it. So I was like, okay, I'll step away from that and I won't harp on that too much. But what I do want from him is to continue, as you mentioned, Matt, to do what he does. You know what I mean? And what you were kind of mentioning, Will, within that controlled chaos of being who he is a guy that can score, that can rebound, and that can get assists. And he had proven that, because that's when you started seeing his names. And again, I'm with y'all. I'm not comparing him to none of these players, but his name was mentioned because of the numbers he put up with like an Oscar Robertson and with a LeBron James and, those kind of guys who are getting, and the Ben Simmons, who are getting those triple-doubles. So if there's somebody that can get those triple-doubles, who I think is going to have more opportunity and more time on the floor, I think he should increase those triple-doubles. The most he ever has is 4. Mm-hmm. He hit 4 triple-doubles his first season and his second, when he had 3 last season. I figure with more time and more opportunity, let's see if you can get 7 triple-doubles this season for Mr. Giddey. I think that means if that's happening, we are fun bad, if that is what's going on, because he has the ball in his hand, he's getting the rebound, and he's pushing it up the floor, and he's finding Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Patrick, whoever, and we're having a good time just running up and down the floor. If he's scoring, and I'm thinking like 10 points when I say those triple-doubles. I'm not thinking like a 20 or 15 or anything like that. Give me 10 simple points. But for me, that just shows that you are running and you are moving down the floor, and things are fun for your team if you're getting that many triple-doubles. So I would like to see him do that this season.
Some people in the comments also asking for some strong rebounding from Giddey, so that kind of goes in line with what you're asking for, Dave.
And that's exactly where I was going. It's like, what are the things that the Bulls have specifically stated so far that they want to see from Giddey? Rebounding, getting the ball up in transition, creating open shots for guys. So like that, if he's getting those triple-doubles, that means that he's doing the things that the team wants from him.
Yes.
I have kind of fallen out of love with triple-double as a thing. Like, I think it's just like very arbitrary and random, like to have,
you go put 10 up 10
in your stat line.
It's very arbitrary.
I'm not saying I can do it. I'm just saying I think it's a silly thing that we put this weird level of importance on. But there is also the element of like just bottom line. If you have 10 points, 10 boards, 10 assists, that means that you put your stamp on a game and we're active in a lot of areas.
Yeah, and I was looking at the leaders for triple doubles. You know who led the league in triple doubles? Sabonis. Led the league in he had 26 triple doubles. Here's the thing: everybody in it, Sabonis, Jokic, Luka, Giannis, Josh Hart, LeBron James.
So other than Josh Hart, those are all like superstar players with super high usage.
That's my point. Like, what do we got in common here? We got winners and we got playoff teams. That's what you got in common here. Like, triple double is important. Below him, it's Scotty Barnes, it's James Harden, and then it's Josh Giddey rounding up, and Anthony Davis rounding out that top 10 because he had 2 triple doubles. No, it's still important. Teams that win have people that do this on their team. It's really, and at a high level. I'm not asking him to do it at a high level. I'm just asking him to get 7 of those things. If he gets like 20 plus or something like that, then we're talking about a different kind of NBA player if Josh Giddey is in that many triple doubles.
So I think that's a good point, and I do agree with both what you and Matt are saying. I think that like the idea of a triple double is a little bit glorified, but I think it's obviously important because it means you put your stamp on the game. The thing that I would caution people about is understanding that, okay, just because Giddey had 10, 10, and 10 does not necessarily mean that he impacted winning. And so I think that there's a tier of players who, like Sabonis, like Jokic,
Correct.
like LeBron, Luka, who get a ton of triple doubles because they had massive usage, because they're good rebounders for their position, because they're good scorers and good facilitators, and they draw 2 to the ball and make the right play. That is leading to winning basketball.
Correct.
And I think that the trap that people can fall into is, oh, this guy had a triple double, that means he's good, which is not necessarily true. I think it's probably mostly true, but it's a good point because I think it leads me to my prove it, which is
lead in.
I want it to impact winning.
Segue go.
I don't want it to mean empty stats that he was able to score 10 points, get 10 rebounds and 10 assists. I want it to mean that he had a positive impact on the game. So for me, the prove it is positive on-off differential. That is something that he has not ever done over his career so far. Last year, his team was minus 1.7 points per 100 possessions with him on the court compared to when he sat. Meaning when he was on the court, they were almost 2 points per possession worse as a group than when he was on the bench, which is a bad sign. You want your team to be better when you're on the floor compared to when you're off. His second year, when he had his best season, minus 8.2 points per 100 possessions.
Holy moly.
When he was on the court compared to when he was off. So when the team had him on the court and then they took him off, they got 8.2 points per 100 possessions better. That's a huge, huge number. He did. I was wrong. He did have a positive point differential in his first year, but it was only a slight positive 0.3. So the last 2 years where he's really been kind of a primary piece in the Thunder offense, his team was better with him off the floor.
Yeah.
I want to see him be a player that the Bulls need on the court in order to be competitive.
Right.
We're not talking about winning 60 games this year or 50 or 40. We're talking about, is the team better with him on the court? That's what matters. Yeah. I don't care about like what kind of numbers he puts up. I don't care about like whether he shoots 33 or 35% from 3. It's like, are you making the team better? I think that is like that is the umbrella that all this other stuff falls into. If he improves his 3-point percentage by 2 points, if he gets 8 triple doubles this year, but the team is much worse with him on the court, that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
The team needs to be better with him on the court.
His second season, the one that was the most impressive statistically that people point to, is the one where his on-off number was the -8.
16th percentile in the entire NBA.
Yeah, that's, I mean, for all the people who throw the phrase empty calorie and next to Zach LaVine's name over the years, that's a pretty glaring example right there for Josh Giddey. That's
exactly what we're talking about. Because look, I think, and this is the perfect example too. If the Bulls go through this season and Giddey puts up 15 triple doubles and he averages 17, 8, and 8, and the Bulls win 25 games, and they say at the end of season press conference, yeah, we didn't play well, but we're keeping our pick here, and Josh Giddey put up some really big numbers, and we view him as a piece that we can build with going forward. Yeah, but like are you now paying him because he put up a bunch of huge numbers on a bad team and you think that means he's worth it going forward? Or is it because, yeah, he put up big numbers, but he's also +4 point differential. And that is the encouraging thing. So to me, it's like you have to kind of parse through some of that stuff to understand really whether he is impacting winning. And to me, that's the big thing for the Bulls front office is like, how can they separate themselves from the box score stats and say, is this guy actually going to impact winning long-term? Because that's worth paying for.
Right.
If you're going to give him $30 million a year, he can't be a -8 player.
No.
Period.
We all silly like the mayor.